But I'm delighted to say that we are the recipient of $550,000 of state and federal funding, which is coming to our city to address the impacts of gun violence on those communities most at risk. And that's so important. And the funding will go towards boots on the ground.
Over these last 3 years, our city has been working tirelessly through the efforts of citizens, community partners, the Gun Violence Prevention Commission, and local government to create meaningful and sustainable efforts addressing prevention, intervention, and response to gun violence. Today, through collaborative efforts of the Commission's grants team and 3 community partners, we are pleased to announce the receipt of 3 new grants, federal and state funded, that will aid our community in providing hospital-based intervention with outreach into the community, mental health counseling in an area of our city most affected, and emergency relocation and safe housing for families at risk of exposure to further violence.
In 2019 to 2021, in fact, we've seen a 48% increase in the total number of gun-related injuries. I'm confident that this grant and the funds made available will further help us as a community address the disparity at the root of gun violence. To accomplish this, we are launching the Violent Injury Recovery and Support Program. During a patient's hospitalization, our intervention specialist will connect with our patients daily and evaluate the patient's needs. They will act as care coordinators and connect them with the community resources and some of the partners that we have here today once they are discharged.
Our grant is to supply counseling at the Envision Center that will make counseling readily available to the residents of Northwest Roanoke. Our specific goal is to have a counselor present 5 days a week at the Envision Center adjacent to Lansdowne Park. Residents will be able to make appointments for counseling as well as take advantage of drop-in counseling when stressors of life and challenges are too much for them to endure on their own. Northwest Roanoke has significantly been impacted by gun violence. In 2021, 40% of gun violence victims were from this location of the city. Family Service wants to support the families, the victims, the neighbors, the friends of those who are still traumatized and anxious over the violence that this gun violence has created.
I'd also like to thank Virginia Department of Criminal Justice for providing us with this important grant for the Gun Violence Emergency Relocation Project. This will help relocate low-income families in Roanoke away from hotspots of violence and unsafe living conditions. It fills a gap in some of our local offerings, not only helping those directly impacted by gun violence, but secondarily, victims as well. It will help give victims a fresh start and proactively address multi-generational trauma.
I fell victim to this about 7 months ago. I lost my son, Will Jr. It was one of the hardest things that I ever had to face in my life. No parent should ever have to bury their child. And although I couldn't save my child, I'm trying to build a village so that other parents don't have to go through the hurt and pain. This is why I became a mentor for the Reset program. The program works with the youth to address behavioral concerns, to promote healthy communication, teaching them to make better decisions and to be proactive and not reactive. Our youth require help. Help with academics, resume building, job placement, social skills, and most of all, how to conduct themselves. With this program, they're given tools to empower them. This program has allowed me to express my grief, to give back. If I can save just one, then my job is done.